That hurt.
He has the lawless talking point where it's like, hey, MLS is its own business, has no, what's good for MLS may not necessarily be good for U.S. soccer, but it doesn't matter because they're two separate entities, which is kind of not true. But he's preaching along the same talking points. But he's like, again, he looked at Donovan do it and be like, how can you look at that and say, I want to do that. I'm gonna put my foot in my mouth.
Do these people realize how fucking annoying they sound?
Yeah.
Anyhow, let's see what he says.
If MLS wanted to make a big splash, I'd go for X, Y, and Z. Like, well, no, maybe X, Y, and Z want nothing to do with you for the next 10 years.
Well, we even had Max admit to us, okay, maybe after 2026. Remember?
Yeah. And that's a fair point. I mean, you're looking
but that's not what he started at, though.
Exactly. You're looking at players who are going to be 28, 29 years old. And maybe at that point, they're looking at going, hey, maybe I do want that $10 million contract for the next 3 years of my life.
Yeah.
All
right. So what did he say?
Let's see what he says.
Go get Pulisic. Go get McKennie. Go get Reyna. Like, go spend. You're going to have to spend a lot of money, and it's going to be shades of back in 2014. And you could.
How'd that turn out?
Yeah.
Shades of 2014 turn out for us.
Yeah. Them all coming back before their careers were really over in Europe, prematurely making the situation, right? That was bad for U.S. soccer, especially Michael Bradley went backwards. And after one season, Altidore took a total turn in the wrong direction. And Dempsey is mostly that heart thing. And because I don't think he ever lost the grit, actually, I will say. He was the one guy that didn't come down. And what JJ, I mean, God, whatever team he played for when he first got over here, the first two.
New England Revolution, I believe.
They went from shit teams to like playoff teams. That's what one player can do.
I keep telling you that every year for Chicago, but you keep saying it's a pipe.
Okay, you get JJ, the old JJ, on your team before he got old. And
I would happily take the current JJ on our team.
Yeah, I don't know how fit he'd be, but all right.
It doesn't matter.
I know. He's
attacking people.
Jermaine Jones is a badass, plain and simple. He made every team he played for until the very end better. But anyhow, he's just saying that, okay, go ahead.
Yep.
You could argue that's not the best thing for the national team, but what's best for the national team, what's best for MLS? These are independent. MLS is a business. The national team is about results, and it's also a business from a soccer.
So does he know these two bedmates do hang out quite a bit together?
They do this right here, actually.
Yeah, a lot of that. They're very close. In fact, Don Garber has been on the U.S. Soccer Board for 13 years. Something like that, right?
Yeah.
Like, come on. They're both waxing each other's dolphins. They know that this is a horrible idea to bring McKennie and Pulisic and Reyna and Adams and whomever you want to list back to MLS 2 years or a year and a half before the World Cup. What a stupid idea. Like, why would you even go on a show and voice this? And I'm really surprised that Mossy isn't just laughing out loud here at this.
Well, I mean, he had to endure what Donovan said, so he's just sitting there like, whatever. I heard this. It's promotion relegation, but for you, Derek.
Right.
Every time somebody mentions promotion relegation, you're just like, guys, come on.
Okay, really? It might be better for MLS, but would it be a lot better, Leverdat, or would it be a little better? Because when I talk to casual fans, and that's who we got to win over, because the fans that are already there are already won over, right? And I guess you would win over a portion of the U.S. men's national team fanatics, but a lot of those fans would look at them coming to MLS as almost a treachery, a traitorous idea, and know it's going to hurt the U.S. men's national team. They would hate this, and they would not tune in to watch it. I guarantee it. They would be outraged by this. So you're not going to win a lot of them over. You might win over some casuals who are like, oh, I heard of that McKennie guy one time. Oh, that Adams guy. Like, what, a handful? I don't really think it boosts MLS that much.
You might get some more viewership on the ones that are broadcasted on regular TV, not necessarily Apple TV. But
which
the actual,
are a few,
however many there are, I don't know.
handful.
I have Apple, so I don't care about the ones that are broadcast on regular TV.
Not many. It's Fox. It's just Fox.
But as far as the games are concerned, I mean, I might like if Chicago went out and got like Pulisic or McKinney, I might go to a game or two.
But you already watched Chicago.
But
and follow.
Yes, Stimpy down the street who's a soccer fan, he likes playing the game and stuff like that, but not necessarily follow. Won't go to Chicago for them. So I mean, you're really appealing to people who know these players pretty damn well.
Are you talking about Stimpy, that guy down the road that has a booger collection?
Yeah, he's roommates with Reyna.
That guy is annoying.
Yeah,
that's Stimpy, dude. Yeah. I don't know how much it would inflate MLS. I think it would definitely disappoint a whole corridor of U.S. men's national team fans who want to watch our guys play in Champions League and play on Champions League level teams. They would be, I think, extremely disappointed by all these players coming back to the United States playing MLS right before the most important tournament in U.S. soccer history since 94, right?
Sure.
So,
well,
no.
he's gonna bring it up now later here in just a few actually.
Okay.
Where he talks about like, where does that guy play? Oh, he plays at Cincinnati. Or where does that guy play? Oh, he plays in Miami. It would be more impressive and would probably draw more people into watching U.S. men's national team games if you say, that Matisse Albert, where does he play? Oh, he plays at Dortmund. Cool. Where does Pulisic play? He's playing for AC Milan. That's awesome. Those teams hold a little more merit than Chicago Fire. I'm just saying. So
a good example, I was texting with my brother. He's like, so U.S. is playing tonight against Costa Rica. And I texted him. He said, I'm going to place a bet on it. What should I do? And I said, dude, this is our C team. And they're playing against kind of a Costa Rica B/C team. I don't think I put any money on this necessarily. He's like, what do you mean? No Pulisic, no McKinney? It's like, yes, no Pulisic, no McKinney. My brother's a casual, but he wouldn't start watching MLS on a regular basis just because Pulisic came over. He watches U.S. soccer games. That's it. He's a casual, super casual, right?
So my dad is when he was younger, he played football and wrestling, the standard, type of stuff, no baseball or anything like that. But he didn't get into soccer until me and my brother played soccer. And he's pretty big into soccer. He loves watching the games and stuff like that. He talks about it. He goes to all my kids' games and shit. But games like this, any national team game, for the most part, unless we go there and we sit down with them, for the most part, he'll catch up on the recap of whatever's in the paper. It's like, I saw U.S. beat Costa Rica. Yeah, the paper, man. He's old school, man. And there is actual coverage still in the sports section. It's surprising, I know.
Yeah.
He's just like, hey, I see U.S. beat Costa Rica 3-0. I'm like, yeah, it was an okay game. It was a fun game to watch. It was just like C team versus B team, and
yeah. I mean,
you would never know that Pulisic wasn't on the team unless I said something about it.
My parents, who very rarely miss an actual big boy U.S. men's national team game when I tell them when it's going to be on. My mom watches it religiously. Now, I hang out with my parents when they're here. They're not. They're in Florida now. But I visit them every weekend when they are in Indiana, in Noblesville. And I wake up in the morning, and what are my parents watching? EPL. And they don't care what match is on. They're watching Premier League soccer. And they used to get the Bundesliga. They used to watch that in the morning too. But so there's no other sports to them in the morning. That's what they watch, soccer. And my parents know so much about English soccer. It's getting ridiculous. My dad's a huge fan of Holland. Other than that, they're casuals. If you told them an MLS match was on, they go, what is that? Even though I've told them 1,000 times what MLS is, right? It's the first division of U.S. soccer. And when we started our own soccer team here in Indianapolis, they go, is that going to be in that, what's that league called? That's what they would say. I was like, you mean MLS? They'd go, yeah, that. Are they going to be in that? Yeah. No, sorry, they're in the NASL. NASL? Like, you mean back from the 80s and 70s? They knew that because they were around in New York when Pele and Beckenbauer came. And they used to go to those matches and took me to those matches because it was Beckenbauer and Pele, right? They knew those guys, but they know nothing about MLS. Absolutely zero. None. And no amount of Reyna and McKenny and Adams coming to MLS would ever intrigue them enough to start watching. So there you go.
So I want to bring up this post by Colin here. He says, why do you guys keep accusing ex-players of advocating that our good players come back to MLS? They didn't say that. Can you guys not understand what they're saying? This is the third time. I will say that.
Oh, my God.
Holden legitimately right now is saying that MLS should do this. I'm not saying that he's not saying the U.S. players should go to MLS. He's saying that MLS should actively pursue these players. But by even bringing this topic up, he's saying that there's even a myopic opportunity that MLS could persuade our key players who are playing on massive teams in Europe to come to MLS.
Why
even talk about it if it wasn't a possibility?
Why make the argument at all? Why bring it up? It's a stupid thing to bring up. And I'm sorry, but you're
MLS love Ronaldo and all these other key massive ginormous players, but they're not going after them because they're not going after them. Neymar turned down Chicago, which is good for all parties involved here, because he's going back to his childhood club in Brazil.
Okay, hold on. Let's go back to fucking Lawless writing an article saying that Pulisic should go to the Galaxy, right? He wrote an article about that. Lawless wrote an article.
I remember the Gio one. I don't remember the Pulisic one, though.
Was it Gio or Pulisic?
Gio, he said Gio should seriously contemplate going to MLS.
Okay, so he said it, right? He said it. And then we had Landon Donovan saying that Pulisic he should consider coming to the MLS instead of going to AC Milan. He said it.
Because playing time at AC Milan's not guaranteed, and going to play at LA Galaxy would be a guaranteed playing time leading into 2026. Yes.
And we've had some of these motherfuckers on our show. All right. And I can disagree with Lawless. And by the way, we do talk on occasion. It's not a problem. Like, I would disagree with whatever that article is. We can't remember at this point. And I would also say that Landon Donovan also said that Reyna should have started his career at MLS. For why? Why would he do that? Because he would get 200 games and not get injured? Like there's any guarantee? Some people need to stop coddling their favorite players from the past. And when they say something like that's not right, they need to criticize those that are now critics, right? They're analysts. Like Jimmy Conrad and I had it out last week. And it's okay. Jimmy and I got over it. He called me out on his show. We reconnected on Twitter, and all was ironed out. And you know what? In the end, what did Jimmy say? You know what? Maybe I shouldn't really take Camp Cupcake so personally. Maybe I do so much. I should probably back away from being the one leading the conversation on it. Okay, that's a win-win for us and Jimmy, and I think that's fair. So there we go.
So
yes, he did, Colin.
So no, here's legit what Donovan said. He goes, if Gio would have started his career, I think Gio should have started his career at MLS, and if he did, he would have 300 plus games at this point.
That's what he said.
That's almost
what he said. Go watch the fucking video. What the fuck?
That's almost verbatim what he said. 100%.
Fucking word for word what he said.
I mean, it's one of those things where, again, Holden's
it's not a big deal, by the way. He's just wrong. And we don't hate Landon Donovan. We love Landon Donovan for what he's given U.S. soccer. And I was my son had posters of Landon Donovan on his wall, for Christ's sake. This isn't fucking personal. And that's what the problem is with you, Colin. Sometimes you don't get it. It's not personal. It's a disagreement on fucking things they analyze. We have our what we think is right, and they have what they think. Sometimes they collide, and it's okay. It's okay. And we're not misquoting him. We played his quote on our show, the Donovan quote. We played it. So don't tell us what we didn't see. We saw it. Jesus H. All right, enough of that. What else we got? We want to finish Stu?
Oh, no, yeah, we'll definitely do that, yeah.
Oh, my God.
I mean,
sometimes I think we're being trolled, but you and I both know Colin really believes what he says.
I'll happily spend time to go and get that quote, like word for word, what he said. And again, he's not saying that he should have started, but he's just saying simply, I think, maybe actually does, and he should have started. He goes, I think, I'm begin paraphrasing. I think he should have started if he did start his career in MLS, he'd have 300 plus games at this point.
He said,
but then again, barring his injury, he would have 300 plus games at Dortmund, which is, I don't understand his overall argument.
Exactly. And he, by the way, not going to Dortmund would have been a catastrophically bad decision.
Yeah.
Because while healthy, he went straight to the first team practically. And then he got injured. What are you going to do? All right.
Standpoint, but it's the best of the best. And so you're taking a risk as a player if you come back. But if I feel I want to make a big splash before 26, I'd be in that owner's room. I'd be like, hey, guys, let's go get in that season leading up to 26. Let's get all the best stars of MLS.
So again, he's making an argument for MLS to do this. Like, not for MLS to do this, but if I were MLS, if I want to make this big splash, this is what I would do.
Correct.
And that's fine. But again, why even bring up the point if there's no possibility for it? Is Pulisic, is Gio, is McKinney, are any of them coming back in the summer? Because it's moot. Moot.
None of them are coming back in the first place, so this shouldn't even be a discussion. B, if any fucking halfwit and MLS thinks that's worth doing to sabotage, and he said it, okay, MLS and U.S. soccer are not the same thing. Okay, buddy, they're not the same thing exactly, but they're in bed together. I really don't think that Poach would like all his best players to come back from Europe and go play in Cincinnati, Austin, and fucking Portland. I don't think that's what anybody who's running that team wants to happen. And it's not going to happen. I don't even know why he's talking about it, because it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know why recovery is such a stupid idea.
Yeah, but that's the point. That it's and I'm not saying this is why this is done, but it's very clickbaity in the sense that you post this, and it was cut down to a short because that's what we're watching right now. It's going to draw attention.
I guess it drew our attention.
The fact of the matter is, no key 11 starter are going to come to MLS before 2026. That's not to say after 2026 that maybe McKinney's had enough of Juve's shenaniganry and will take up on that 10 to 12 to $15 million bid that some random club, whether it's FC Dallas, whether it's Houston, whether it's Miami, LA.
Pulisic's 28, 29. Yeah, sure. He might start considering that. Yep.
So it's very possible, but nobody's going to consider that beforehand. So why are we even talking about it?
It's clickbait. It's clickbait.
Again, if MLS wants to make a splash, they'd go and get all these other big, massive players that are playing in Europe.
Go get Neymar. Go get Ronaldo. Go get Saha. Go get. There are all kinds of big names.
I jokingly.
Salah. Go get Salah.
Mo Salah is an option for Chicago, which that didn't pan out. It wasn't Mo, by the way, but still, there are bigger names out there besides Americans, and American fans aren't going to sit there and go like, oh, McKinney's in MLS. I'm going to go watch it now.
No, they won't.
But they'd be like, oh, Cristiano Ronaldo's coming in. Now we see with Messi.
Yes.
Why wouldn't we see with some of the other big names too over our own players?
Right.
So
not even Ibrahimovic made that big of a difference in MLS. Remember when he came? It's Ibra, for fuck's sake. Not many people gave a fuck. I called my brother. Are you watching? I don't know who that is. He didn't know who he was. My parents don't know who Ibrahimovic is. They have a fucking clue. But they know who Ronaldo is. They know who Messi is. They knew who Pele was. They know the best of the best. They knew who Beckham was too, by the way. They knew
there's nobody else out there that's gonna have the draw that say a Messi or a Ronaldo will pull in for the amount of money you're gonna spend. You bring in Neymar, you'll bring in some, some Brazilian fans that want to come see him, and a couple of American fans that want to go and see him too. You bring in a major Mexican player's name into the equation. Yeah, you're going to draw on a population of that group.
Yeah, but, like your boy Guatemala Blanco, right?
Yeah, Blanco did a massive
he drew
job for Chicago. Yes,
Chicharito will draw. Yeah, I mean, you got to be real specific about what you're doing here, but just bringing over any Dick, Harry, and John, like I said, Ibrahimovic, an amazing character, but not enough people really knew who he was. When he came over, it didn't blow up the stadiums.
I mean, San Diego's bringing in Luca De La Torre.
Oh, yes, that's going to have Luca De La Torre jizz flying left and right.
Derek, he was at a World Cup.
No one cares, Brett, and you know it.
I know. That's kind of my point. That's what I'm bringing
up. All right. For the 200, we cracked 200. We're at 207. For those of you watching, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma. Thank you for being here on a Thursday after what was, a mostly flaccid outside of the goals Thursday or Wednesday game for the U.S. men's national team C team. We will cover that in a minute, and I promise we're going to be done with this stupidity here soon.
Yeah, there's always a vacuum of stupidity, right? There's always so much of it.
Yeah, well, in a vacuum, usually there's nothing. But in this case, there's stupidity along with nothingness.
I'm not referring to like the vacuum of space, but my vacuum upstairs has plenty of shit in there right now.
I know, sorry. I'm bringing science into this.
Slaughter Dodd for $1.09 says McKinney to MLS would boost ranch dressing sales.
But not much. Not much. If he went to, say, Austin, he might boost the ranch sales in Austin slightly. But he'd have to do
is there a ranch company based in Austin?
I don't really know what is it, Hidden Valley? Where are they? Where's the headquarters? It doesn't matter. Wherever that is, that's the team that needs to buy them.
I'll tell you this much. There are no valleys in Texas, period.
Wherever city the Hidden Valley headquarters is located in, or wherever the corporation runs out of, they should not only bring McKinney, they should sign him up and then sponsor the team and have Hidden Valley Ranch right on the crest, right under the crest. Sponsor the team shirts, right?
From the national team, bring them back to MLS so that we can say opening kickoff, United States playing at SoFi Stadium against whoever they get. When people are like, hey, where does that guy play? He's really good. He plays in Cincinnati. Where does that guy play? Miami. Where does that guy play? New York. The best American players play in America.
That worked really good back in the 80s and the 90s. the 90s and early 2000s.
In the year 2000.
The league was growing by leaps and bounds in the late 1990s because all the American players, or a lot of them, played right here in the United States. That just boosted the league completely. And then through the early 2000s, that whole Landon Donovan thing, that just completely pulsated and grew. MLS is a sport here because he managed to just stay here for a while until he went to Everton twice and Bayern before that. Come on. It's not going to do dick. Let's not kid ourselves. Yeah. It's a tiny, tiny, tiny infinitesimal bump. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, I remember Dick's Mayonnaise.
I remember Dick's Mayonnaise.
Arguably one of my favorite potential fake sponsors ever, man. Dick Mayo. Dick's Mayo.
It's Duke's, but I forgot. I thought it was Dick's Mayo.
I had two different versions of Duke's Mayo up there. I've never bought Duke's in my life until you brought this up.
Yeah.
Colin says, nice edit. Wasn't my edit. It was the edit by State of the Union podcast. So if there's missing context there, blame them, not me.
Yeah, they didn't post the full thing up there. Blame them. And listen, okay, this is nothing. We both were huge Stu Holden fans when he played, especially when he was at Bolton and he got his leg broken twice. All right, what a great player that guy is. As an analyst, he's delivered very minimally to the conversation, to the sport, over the years that he's been an analyst. He has provided the absolute fucking minimum of in-depth ideas and thinking. Like, where was all his criticism of Greg when this team played like a bunch of fucking robots? We got nothing from anybody about that, except for those of us who are watching the system and watching it. Now we're getting it from the players. The players are finally talking about it. Oh, God, we love playing for Poach. He lets us do what we need. He lets us be creative. It's not about this pass, and then you got to go to that pass. They literally have said this in their quotes. This pass to that pass to this pass. They're being joystick people. We've been saying it for fucking the whole Berhalter era. They were being joysticked. And the joystick is off. It's done. It's over. Poach is letting them play.
Yeah.
And guys like Stu and even guys like Lawless, we had on a show, and we challenged him when he said this. Well, once you get on the field, you just do what you want. No, dude. Are you watching this team? Go watch our interview with Lawless when we had him here. Say, no, that's not true, Lawless. That's not. Lexi, no. Anyhow, it's totally, you're able to have an argument with somebody, even on your show, and you can't, I'm not going to let him get away with saying that. We disagree with him on that, and then we moved on to other things, but it is what it is. You got to provide more. I say Alexi at least provides, and he has been recently more on target and said smart things, lots of more smart things in the last year. I rarely hear much smart come out of Stu's mouth. Sorry, just don't. No offense. I know he's friends with Lawless. I think he was a great player, and I'm sure he's a wonderful gentleman and has a big penis. But other than that, it's not, it's just not, I'm not a fan of his as an analyst.
That hurt.